Help, help, I need somebody.
We all need somebody.
Moving forward with the Dekker Team. Moving forward together with the Dekker Team.
We are delighted that for over 35 years, we've been able to come alongside you to not only help you sell, buy, and invest over 3,117 times, but really build your faith, build your fun, build your fitness, and your finances. You know, as we think about this whole relational journey, because business, being good at your business is really... So what? You better be good at your business.
I started out very transactional.
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
And I think I didn't. Now, I moved into the transaction when I got desperate to survive in my business, when I lost the focus for client, which is something we've shared on lots of earlier episodes. But really what we want to discover is that authenticity, being real with people, is required. Now, that doesn't mean 100% transparency.
Yeah, can you unpack that, Yetta? Because you did that very, very well with some people we met in Mexico that we were doing some business with. He has a management company and managing our rental property down there, our vacation rental. So what is the difference between authentic and transparent?
Well, authentic is, who are you? How do you perceive the world? How do you come at the world? You're not hiding who you are, right? Who you be, how you... If I believe relationships are important, if I then say to you, oh, I don't think relationships are important, that's inauthentic, right? Or if I behave in a way that's incongruent with who I portray myself to be in the world.
So we've had that where people have come and stayed in our house for a week or 2 weeks or 2 months. And they've said, you know what we like is you two are the same here as you are out there, right?
Right. Or even on
who we are on the radio, who we are in the public, who we are at church is the same people we are at home.
Right, which is authentic. And yet transparency would be, what intimate things do you know about me as a person? So transparency, you have to choose your levels of transparency in a any relationship. Did they earn the right to know that about you? Or did you earn the right to know that about them?
Or might they use that knowledge against you? Right.
So transparency is the details. So if I'm showing up at a client's house, authentically, I'm going to be bubbly and enthusiastic, and that's authentically who I am. And if somebody's going through a hard time, authentically, I'm going to shift that behavior to be available to them, to be compassionate to them. That's still authentically me because I am those things given different situations.
Right.
But if I then walk in and I tell somebody that I had a major, huge fight with you last night and I'm ready to, whatever, rip your face off, which is the way I might say it to you as a joke, that would be transparent, but not appropriately transparent. So is your transparency level appropriate
for the relationship level,
for that relationship? And if it's a professional relationship, it has to have different levels of transparency. But in the same breath, if you really like who I'm being, but I'm being someone contrary to who I really am, the question I always ask people is, are you actually liked?
No, you don't like me, you like who I'm behaving as.
Right, and who I'm pretending to be.
And sometimes
it's
that happens
pretender.
in dating and the initial.
Okay,
right?
Now you're going down a totally different path. So if you're finding
well, no, it's kind of dating when you're. Sorry for interrupting.
That's okay.
When you're interviewing an agent to buy or sell a property through, it's almost like you're starting the dating process because we're going to spend some time together. It's not a romantic dating, but it's a relationship. And dating's really designed to see if the person is right for you.
Right.
Right? So I'm just slide that over in your mind. Keep open for a second.
Okay. I'm keeping
to
open.
Business where we we need to be authentic enough, both the client and the person on the other side, the business owner, need to be authentic to the point where they can decide if that's the right person for them.
And then I would even say you're moving into transparency. Some level of transparency of not only who they be, but what information I'm actually willing to share. Transparency would be about what's my level of experience in the industry.
Yeah.
We said in one of the other segments, if you want to work with somebody that's got expertise in commercial, you want to talk to Ken. But it was transparent that when we said 9, almost 10 years ago, when you bought the building, you did not feel equipped to represent yourself in that purchase. Mm-hmm. And when we leased the building 22, 23 years ago, before we bought our own building for our brokerage, at that point, you didn't feel comfortable to do your own leasing. Mm-hmm. Right? When we bought our small business building for the Dekker Team 14, 15 years ago, we felt equipped to buy that kind of property, even though we were going to use it for an office.
Right.
So that's transparent. Mm-hmm. That's letting you see when we shifted our levels of expertise and felt competent. You could judge us for that.
And when there's enough relationship between us and the client, it's interesting because they start to open up about their relationship, what's going on, why they want to sell, why, it's so important because it allows us to help. And we've seen places where people have up their guard and they won't tell us what's going on, and it's more difficult to serve.
Well, serve to meet the need.
Yeah, because they're not being authentic with what the need is or transparent enough.
Right. And if you're transparent too early, you damage the whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah, so we have relationships with clients. You sat down the other day with somebody in our home office, had a lovely chat with her.
And the only thing we've ever served her with is actually a lease and an introduction to an agent in another city. We've never really done traditional real estate to support her. And yet there's a level of relationship that has developed. I was one of the first people that got to meet her adoptive son when he came from another country to Canada. And so there's this level of transparency as well as camaraderie. Yeah. And I'm now, strangely, took the time just to chat. I'm now in her book that she's writing. Who knew? I wasn't trying to position, I didn't know she was writing a book, but she felt she wanted to share her dreams with me. And then I shared an insight, and now...
That's great.
It's just kind of neat.
Yeah. So we decided we'd be a little bit transparent and authentic. This year has been a relatively slow year for us. And we're struggling a little bit in the quantity of people we have to serve. So if you would think of us, if you like us as far as the content we put out, if you like us because we're authentic, if you like us because we're knowledgeable and we're giving information out for free as much as we possibly can, then we're going to ask for a favor. If you could think of us, when you hear somebody that's saying, I need some real estate expertise, I need someone to give me a valuation on my home, or I need somebody to buy a house through, or I need some commercial space or something like that, if you would think of us and introduce us to your friend, your coworker, whoever it is, that would be very, very helpful for us. And
helpful for them.
Yeah, and helpful for them. We certainly want to do that. And we just want to say we appreciate you. And thanks for joining us on Life's Inside Track, because when we move forward together, we got this.
Moving forward with the Dekker Team. Moving forward together with the Dekker Team.